I feel we have so many excellent information that probably instead of me adding anything to it, because we have learned so much, and all of these have been exciting and helpful. And so instead of just sharing more ideas, I think probably if I can serve a kind of a facilitator to sort out all these wonderful information and start thinking, where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? And probably most of us here, we would say, we all want to do something. We are sufficiently motivated. And so I think we are all ready to say, what can I do to help? What can I do to help? And I would just share a little bit of what I learned over the years. I've been a pastor for 52 years. And I'm just starting my new journey. After serving God for 50 years, I asked God, what does He want me to do next? If I have another 15 years, 20 years to spare, what would He want me to do? And in a few months, I will be 79. And I said, most of the people would have retired a long time ago. So with whatever energy and opportunity and experience that God has given me, and with the last segment of my life remaining, how could I invest my life to be beneficial to other people? This afternoon we heard some heart-wrenching and moving testimonies. In comparison, I feel that I have been very blessed since childhood. And so I feel that I owe my life not only to God, but to use the blessings that God has given me to help other people. That will be my expression of expressing my gratitude to God for giving me a good family, good children, good parents, and so for the first 22 years of my ministry, I started going pastoring a church, a Presbyterian church, immediately after I finished seminary. And I served for 22 years, and building the largest Chinese church, the first one ever hit the 1,000 mark. And the second phase of my ministry is to launch out into a ministry of not just teaching people more about the Bible and building a church, but to share with people more of the wonderful discovery after 22 years in the ministry of being empowered by the Holy Spirit to be enabled to do a lot more than my physical strength and wisdom could ever achieve. And so for the last 30 years, I've been devoting my life in sharing the ways of the Holy Spirit, and have 8 seminaries at different parts of the world, to teach and train people how to walk in the Spirit. Yeah, how to be empowered by the Holy Spirit and not just to strive alone by our own limited human wisdom. And the Lord has been very good. And so 2 years ago, I began to ask God, if I were to have another 20 years, what would you want me to do? I have tried my best to faithfully preach the word and sharing life in the Spirit. What else do you want me to do? And God just reminded me, your organization is Agape Renewal Ministry. Agape meaning in Greek, the unconditional love of God. And so God just prompted me to share the love of God. Because agape means love, God's love. And so I started 2 years ago the Peacemakers International. The Peacemakers International is to bring love and peace and harmony to families and to churches, to the community, to cities. And so this is a brand new experience for me, because all my life I've been a fourth generation Christian. All my life I kind of enclosed myself within the four walls of the church. And all of my associates, almost 100% Christians. Yeah. And so for me to launch out into the deep, to jump out of my comfort zone, now to move from the church into the marketplace, is a brand new experience for me, because now my contact, 80% are non-Christians. As a matter of fact, when I look back, Jesus' ministry, 80% are among non-Christians, not in the church. As a matter of fact, Jesus at that time was almost considered as anti-church establishment, religious establishment. And so I started this Peacemakers International, trying to do something I've never done before. It's sharing the love of God without having to be very, how should I say it, preachy about salvation and the Holy Spirit. And instead of bringing people to the church, I want to bring the church into the world. Yeah. And so this is what I've been doing. And I find that I move into a brand new world and a brand new experience. And I feel that as a result, I meet with a lot of people who are like-minded. I didn't know, I never dreamed there's so many people who are interested in helping people. As a matter of fact, I meet with a lot of entrepreneurs. They say, Pastor Chan, I've been waiting for someone like you to come along so that I know where to put my money. Because after success, people begin to look for significance. So a lot of people, when the kids grow up and then you have a successful business and then financial security, so you begin to look for something more meaningful. So they would come along, and I've never met with so many entrepreneurs who are willing to help and give and getting so excited about being able to do something significant for other people. Yeah. And so for the last 2 years, I have met with more successful businessmen than I ever met in my whole life in the church for 50 years. Because I find that most of the businessmen, when they come to church, they don't know how to be involved in the church besides giving money. Yeah. And so they feel, sometimes they feel they've been used because the church always needs money. So when they go to church, they feel, is it all my worth to give money? Yeah. And but now I find that a lot of these Christian businessmen, they seem to find their place instead of being just as an usher, as a board member, as a choir member. Is that all they can do in the church? Just go into church and give some offering? I find that many of them find it not meaningful, not fulfilling, and they're looking for something more. And so these last 2 years have been very significant and very meaningful for me. About 10 years ago, I have been challenged by a very successful charity organization. I don't know how many have you here have heard of a Buddhist charity organization, actually one of the largest, 慈济. How many have heard of 慈济? Just only a few, mostly Chinese, yeah. But you know, these people, they have raised billions of dollars. When you go to Hualien in Taiwan, you find that the whole block is they own the whole block of hospitals, schools, all with 5-star quality. Yeah, and so about 10 years ago, I feel challenged. I said, we are always claim we serve a big, mighty, wonderful God. And but if a Buddhist group can do so many charities that grasp headlines, where there is an earthquake, where there is a tragedy, they were the first one, the first responders. And I said, where are the Christians? Christians did try to do a lot of things, but sometimes we will be misled into thinking your right hand do something, don't let your left hand know. So as a result, nobody knows what the Christians are doing. And I said, the world is giving all the credit to the Buddhist group. I, being a pastor, I feel kind of that is doing a very big injustice to our living God, or we have failed our God. And so since that time, I have been wondering. Actually, I kind of wrestled with God. I said, yes, I know God is a living God, and He is a God of love, but why is it that the world doesn't seem to know? And so I begin to say, God, if I at my age, you can still use me, find me useful, here I am. Yeah. I'm going to launch out my faith. I'm going to take some action, as some of you shared here. You know, all talk and no walk is an empty talk. And so I launched this new ministry called Peacemakers International, because after all, Jesus Christ is the Prince of Peace. And so a lot of miracles did happen. And where there's a will, there's a way. And as some people say that whatever you can perceive, you shall receive. Yeah. And so I launch out by faith and wanting to bring peace and love, particularly to my Chinese kinsmen. It's not that I'm prejudiced just doing for China, for my Chinese kinsmen. But I feel after attending this conference, I feel that our Chinese church is lagging far, far behind. I called my wife and I said, Stella, I attended one of the most not just inspiring, but one of the most innovative and hearing testimonies and stories from these people that have walked the walk already. And I said, if we could put all these ideas into Chinese, you will be doing the Chinese church a big, big favor. I've been known to be a networker, and many of my American friends, pastors, they consider the Agape Renewal Center, the organization that I've been with for 30 years, the gateway for the American churches to China. And so I said, God, you have given me this wonderful opportunity of being able to just rally together people who are like-minded, people who are sufficiently motivated, and if I can harness all these resources, all these ideas, all these experiences, and apply it to where it's most needed, and I'm really convinced that China, in spite of its prosperity, in spite of its military might, China is at the brink of bankruptcy as far as the family, moral values. As everybody knows, that this present government is dealing a lot with corruption that is unimaginable. The officials has been putting away billions and billions of dollars overseas, and so the corruption is at its critical stage. And I thank God for Xi Jinping, our chairman, for what he's been doing. Take a lot of courage. Actually, he many times put his life at stake. But I feel that in spite of the very heroic acts that he's doing, and commanding a lot of respect and support from the people, But I still feel that there was something that, as much as he wanted to, he would never be able to do. That is to change hearts. He can build many homes for old folks, but he cannot bring love to these people. And he can build many schools. But as some of my Chinese friends here, you know that they at this moment they terribly need a good educational system in China, yeah, that will give them good value systems. And so I believe through the Peacemakers International, God will give us the opportunity to bring love and peace. These are the new magazines that we come up with. The Chinese here means 爱与和平, love and peace. And so Peacemakers International is to use charity and good works to share the love of God, to gain entrance and access into China, to bring the best educational system, beginning with the preschoolers and elementary. And not only that, but also to join forces with many of the Christian entrepreneurs. By the way, next Wednesday I'll be meeting with 50 of the select entrepreneurs that are like-minded, that have a lot of success behind them. And everyone was thinking, what can we repay society? How can we express our gratitude to God for His many blessings, and to repay society, and to be able to help to bring welfare to many who are in need. And so God has given me wonderful opportunity as a networker, a vast network of goodwill, and I find that to do any charitable work, probably one of the things that people ask is trust, the trust issue. And if you have their trust, there are enough money, there are plenty of money out there willing to be invested in some worthy causes. And I have been given the rare opportunity of providing a platform for those who are willing to share their wealth and success with people who are less fortunate. And so I'm trying, as a networker, I'm trying to, on one hand, to get all the people with the financial resources and the experience and the expertise, like we have heard this morning and this afternoon. If we can rally all of these resources and then put them in the hands of the needies, the homeless, those who have no way of overcoming the obstacles. And so if we can give them a hand, and to give them a brand new future. And so with this networking, that God has given me, I would like to share many of these ideas that have been expressed today, and then bring this to China. In next week, I'll be going to meet with this group of select leaders, and there are about a minimum of 10,000 Christian entrepreneurs in China. If we can rally all these resources together, then with the many ideas and experience, because I really honestly feel that the Chinese church, as well as the Chinese mentality, are far, far behind. And if I can serve as a catalyst for many of the wonderful people here in this room, and many who are not able to come today, if we can just, you have to pardon me, this is my second language, and 99.9% of my speaking is in Chinese. So sometimes I will have to search for words, and so I just want to throw this out and feel that all my years, in 50 years as a pastor, I think I have been called in Chinese as 伯乐. How many understand 伯乐? 伯乐 is someone who can help a wild horse into a champion stallion. 千里马需要伯乐来完成他们的使命. And so one of my goal and passion is to help many people to change, to help them reach their destiny, and to pull in all the resources that I have, and to apply it into the different areas of need. And in closing, I just want to share with you this book that I've written. It's the third I've written. This is 18匹骏马，你在哪里? This is the 18th champion stallion. Where are you? And because in my life, I've been a border to all these people. 17. But I take great joy, and it is almost my second nature. With anybody that I sit down and talk, even the first time strangers, almost I would look for their talents and kind of find out what their desire is. And the next question I want to ask is, what can I do for you? And this is almost a second nature for me. To count it the greatest joy to be able to help people find their own destiny. And I find that at my age, because of these many years of experience, if I can just lend a hand to many of this up and coming winners, to help them reach their testimony, that will be my greatest joy. And so I invite you to join with me and many others to network together. And I pray that my home country, China, will be a country that will bring blessings to other people with the newfound wealth and military power. Do and be a peacemaker in the world. And so let's do it together. And it's time for action. And I want to start a baller club. It's a club for champion stallions. People who otherwise may not be able to realize their highest potential, to reach their highest goal. But those of us that have come a long way, and with my remaining years, if I could just give each one of them a helping hand. And then I see some young people here. Yeah. So that is my greatest joy, to be able to give away my experience and even a financial resource to put the two groups together, so that together we can achieve many, many times more for the glory of God and for the betterment of mankind. Thank you.